6:30 by our studio clocks here in Douala. It is 6:30 in Yaoundé, and it's time for Viewpoint. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is another opportunity for us to discuss issues affecting Cameroon. Last week, the Minister of Transport, accompanied by other administrators, launched the INTERCITY train services between Douala, Yaoundé, Douala. In today's edition of the program, we want to look at, the launching of this other transport means for Cameroonians in comparison with other countries. What is wrong with Cameroon? To talk to us today, we have Mr. Fondu Ignatius. He is a civil society activist. Good evening, sir. Thank you for being there.
Good evening, Mr. Ignatius. Good evening, Cameroonians, and good evening to televiewers of DBS television. I wish to send greetings to Cameroonians who just commemorated the Labor Day last Saturday.
Yes.
Good afternoon. Good evening once more.
Thank you so much. It is our pleasure, and we extend greetings to all those who work day and night to make sure that the economy of this country turns. Let us go to part one of the program. Part one of the program, we are asking, Cameroon launches the intercity train services, Douala, Yaoundé, Douala. Is that the level of Cameroon, Mr. Fundu?
No.
Mr. Fundu says, no, it is not. And we take question two. Can that help the sector? I'm talking about the railway sector in Cameroon. Can that help that sector to develop?
Really, it can help the sector, but it is not up to the standard.
Okay, so it is yes to a certain extent.
To a certain extent.
All right. Those are his views. Let's discuss in part two of the program. For those of you just hooking out with us, you are watching Viewpoint here on DBS television, and we are equally going live on our Facebook page. We begin by asking the question, after the launching of the intercity transport services between Douala, Yaoundé, Douala, after the accident that occurred in Cameroon sometime, killing Cameroonians at Ezeka, we are trying to find out, is that the level of Cameroon when you look at other countries, other African countries, countries that may be below Cameroon when we talk about the level of development, the standard of living, and all others that it comes with them. We are asking Mr. Fundu, is that the level of Cameroon? And he thinks that no, it is not.
Yes, it is not. But I would like to start from somewhere.
Yes.
We encourage it because we cannot live without the train services.
Mm-hmm.
But when we begin to compare with other countries, I wouldn't appreciate, because I begin to think that Cameroon that we call African in miniature,
yes,
which means that all those endowments that are found in Africa, including natural resources that makes the country rich, are found in Cameroon, which means that Cameroon is supposed to be rich in other resources and in cash, because we know that those things that make Cameroon Africa in miniature are supposed to make Cameroon develop very well. But I'm not condemning completely. I know that if you have to take it behind, like from 1982, Cameroon is growing, but according to me, I see it at it is growing at diminishing rate. It is not the speed is not it's not at a fixed speed and not increasing, but it is growing at diminishing rate.
Yes.
At this level, we're not supposed to be talking because when you compare with the other countries, you look at our own train seem to be still an ancient.
The colonial type that we had
of train.
Yes.
But I continue to encourage it, because normally we cannot live without it. But there's something that I don't really know it into details. If it happens that this train is the full responsibility of our government, then I would think that maybe we are now starting from somewhere, because when there are certain necessities that
we must indicate that the CAMEROUN is being run by Bolloré.
Bolloré, I don't know.
French.
Yes, then somebody will buy a train, we come to, we are just there to launch, then it's very funny. It's very funny.
Mr. Fundo, if you look at it, you see that it's like you sit in your house and I buy a kind of chair and bring it to your house and you just take. Is the Cameroon government not having some kind of standard? Can we not say that we want but this one, we don't want this one? Is it not the image of Cameroon? That's not the image of Bolloré.
The problem is that that's something that is just like also an individual. Money is very tempting. We know when we engage in privatizing, there are certain companies that would privatize. When we are privatizing, we concentrate on money without looking on the side of the negative consequences. You see, those are, you know that when somebody put in money, he want to maximize profit, and he bases on the agreement that was signed between the government. He signed with the government of Cameroon, and yes. At a certain extent, the government cannot intervene to a certain level. I want to take it and compare with what is happening with if you see even the ISONL.
Yes, Eneo.
If you see the way Cameroonians are being tortured today, it's a deplorable issue. Yes. Even though we are not here to talk about Eneo, I'm talking so Eneo, but just like we are talking about Camrai, I'm trying to see the Cameroon government is beginning to get rid from that exploitation, because a company that was launched, I think it's Sonatre, that's going to be in charge of transportation of energy, and then those will only be in charge. So we are expecting that at this level. That's why I was asking a question whether the Cameroon government is involved in the purchase of this.
Of course, Camera should be a parastatal.
We needed to be involved fully so that, and then we begin to get rid of this full monopoly of certain necessities that we cannot live without them. So that's the way I see. But for this one, it's not something to.
Mr. Fundo, you indicated that we need the services of the train in our country. It is indisputable. But the issue here is, after the accident that we had at along the Yaoundé-Douala rail or at Ezeka, every other person expected that should be the beginning of the end of this old kind of wagons that we have. When you look at other countries like Ethiopia, you look at other countries like Senegal, Ivory Coast, you look at other countries like Algeria, even next door Nigeria. Is it that Cameroonians are not fit to also ride in this kind of trains? Is it that this kind of trains cannot run on our own rails in Cameroon?
There is something that is wrong.
Yes.
At this level, the influence of our former colonial masters still is involved in issues like this one.
Yes.
Then, you see, there was a time that we started talking about the Bolloré that owns this railway in Cameroon. There was a time that his contract terminated
along the container terminal
in the
seaport.
Douala.
Yes.
And then Cameroonians were jubilating that he has to leave for us to manage our seaport. But at a certain time, we started seeing that there was some controversy. It's massive, which means that powers are coming from elsewhere to impose our government. So it's the same. I'm seeing the same thing with Camrai. But the issue that we cannot just sit and begin to cry. We are trying to inform and encourage our government that if contracts like this are contracts that have been signed in tens of years ago, they should make sure that once those contracts get to the end, they should not engage in such contracts again. Because really, Cameroon today, we're supposed to be talking about extending the railway to the rest of the 10 regions of Cameroon.
Of course.
Because it is possible today, even the northwest and from the west to the northwest that we climb hills.
Yes.
The technologies today is possible for
rails to go right up.
Through tunnels and reach there. That's what we're supposed to be doing today. But Cameroon Cameroon financially, I fear that we are poor, but in natural resources we are rich. Financially, our coffers, something is wrong. I'm saying this because I experienced something during this period of COVID-19. If you observe what happened in Cameroon, you will notice that Cameroon, this country, is financially down.
Yes.
Yeah, it's down. But on the other side, on the natural resources, we are rich, but that the riches are not well managed.
Mr. Fondo, we come back to the issue of Cameroon struggling to seize their autonomy. You cited the issue of the container terminal at the Douala seaport, and I must indicate to you that if you look at what happened when Cameroonians took over the management of that infrastructure under the general manager Cyrus Ngo, under the board chair Shea Jones Yembe, you would realize that the performance that they have been able to carry out just within 1 year is already getting to more than what Bolloré has been operating there throughout. So if Camerooners can go through that, that bold step of seizing that port and managing it, and it is being very profitable for the government of Cameroon, why not do so in other sectors? Because when one would look at it, okay, they have launched the sector or the services between Douala, Yaoundé, Douala. When you put them together, what happens to the, we used to leave Douala here to Kumba, through Mbanga, Douala, Kongsamba, all those lines are dead.
Are closed.
Why is he not extending them to other to these other localities? Because the question we're asking here is it that Cameroonians, their level is at that level of, because we are still at the colonial era where you still see the kind of wagons that we have. And the worst thing is, these wagons are not new wagons because they are no more being produced. These wagons should have been second-hand, third-hand, if not fourth-hand, that has been bought from other countries, and findings are proving that they are coming from East Africa.
There are cargo trains that have been bought and maybe
correct, and then just new paint coatings, yes, applied on it, and then we go.
When you say that, why can Cameroonians not stand up and do something in order to get rid of that situation? I'm trying to see. I'm beginning to go extending it to Africa as a whole. I'm having a feeling that for an African country to be completely free from this colonial influence, that leader need to be a dictator.
Yes.
I'm comparing it to situations like when you see Libya. You know that Libya is a country that has suffered from a trade embargo for years, but Libya is well developed more than us. I want to consider even leaders like this man of North Korea, who is just like a wanted man to all the. But you notice that if the issue that if you don't become a dictator, because one thing with the Africans is that when that leader who is trying to stop their influence, they will use the positions to get you. So you need to be very wise. So that's why I'm trying to answer your question that for us something is wrong.
But so that dictator should be dictator in relation to colonial influence.
Well, that's the dictatorship
that you're
I'm trying to say. They have gone to the extent of even manipulating our internal issues. Just look at there is something that happened in Chanté, Navarre.
Yes.
When I hear from the information, when Fonjindam was the GM of Chanté Navarre, information says that he started Chanté Navarre with around, I think, what is 400 million, something like that. And by the time he was leaving, Chanté Navarre was already counting billions. But he was removed and sent to prison. Other managers appointed.
Yes, and the whole place
notice
is
that
collapsing.
Since the time he left, you see that Chanté Navarre has collapsed completely.
Yes.
I don't think that this thing is a kind of reasoning that our authorities are reasoning themselves. It's like some influence coming from behind. Somebody will deceive you and you crumble your own company like that. So I'm adding this one on what you said, that we should learn to oppose these people completely. When we oppose them, don't take gifts from them, because what killed us is that we are attracted by money given by them. So those things like that make us to involve into agreement that we cannot support it at certain times.
Okay, but then while we're still looking about the issue of these trends, the question we're asking now is to find out from Cameroonians, when Cameroonians sit, and for those who have traveled, when they measure what we have, when they measure what is in other countries, where is the pride of Cameroon? Do we even have a pride to talk about?
I don't really see, but normally at that level we begin to talk about politics in Cameroon. You know that Cameroon, for some time now, Cameroon has been managed in a way that we have criticized, we have done everything, even some people in certain positions, people have tried to ameliorate things, but for quite a long time, if it is not going, I feel that at this level, management at the head of the state, at the head of the country, we should be expecting change. Maybe after the person at the head of the state, we shall have a new president. But really, what we are talking, it is not today that Cameroonians have been feeling that our country is not the way we expect it to be. But for quite this time, you see that there's no change. I believe that this time politics will play. If a new person takes up the power, maybe we'll begin to see whether he will bring his own type of change that will satisfy Cameroonians.
Okay, Mr. Fundu, let us take question 2. And we're trying to ask, along the line, you were saying something that when it comes to personal business, people forget to find out the good, the interest, the image of the country, the interest of the people, the comfort, the well-being of the clients. They go for money. Now we're asking question 2. Can what we saw with the launching of this intercity or train services between Douala, Yaoundé, Douala, can it, develop the railway sector in Cameroon? Because to you, yes, to a certain extent, which means from 2 angles. Yes, to which extent? The first extent, yes, how can it develop it?
The development that it will give is that it will continue transporting, performing transportation between Douala
and
Yaoundé. Because if it is completely ceased, off, then we will suffer. The people who the population, first of all, the road will not be able to support the number of passengers that travel between Douala. That's just what I feel.
And they still tell us that the railway transportation is a bit cheaper than air, than land.
Voila, that's where I see that it can help.
Develop the sector.
They say it means that the sector will continue. It will remain functioning. But on the other side, I don't see any change between this one that has been bought now and those that
the old ones that were there, the old wagons,
the old one that were first of all existing. It means that this one will continue running Douala, Yaoundé. There's nothing new there, except what is new is the new paint that we have seen. They have renovated it.
Yes, they've given a new coating.
I don't see any other thing. No, I don't see.
But then the question we're asking is, do you think that a Cameroonian who go to Yaoundé, leaving Douala, is it not preferable you take a bus, a 70-seater bus, a 65-seater bus, where you are at least comfortable? Because when you see this kind of wagons that we have, just imagine how it would look like inside. Because the inaugural phase would have been glorious like it was presented, but then the new coating that is there, the infrastructure that we saw inside, because the minister was there and was complaining that everything there's it is air conditioned. Is it what will prevail for Cameroonians? Because was it not done because the minister will be there?
You mean the painting now?
Yes, and the putting in the apparent comfort that this trends seem to have.
If not of the population of Cameroon that is also growing at a faster rate, the past Cameroonians could have responded to this trend themselves, which means that abandon the sector completely. Let it continue to be a cargo trend as it was in the country where it has been brought from. That's just the answer. Because it's something that you cannot question. There's no answer that there's no better response that they will give to you if you have to go to those authorities and even the authorities, the government, to ask. Here like this, Cameroonians should respond individually. I don't believe that if I have to travel from Douala to Yaoundé, I will go to the train services. But to an extent, as you said, that sometimes it is cheaper. Life in Cameroon life has become very difficult. Some people will be forced to go there. If not, Cameroonians could have responded to this thing. This is a cargo train.
It's not meant for transporting human beings.
Really.
But Mr. Fondo, if we are looking at it, we are asking the question: should the government? Because I'm still asking. Actually, like we are saying, it is it is being managed by Bolloré, but it is in Cameroon. Can the government of Cameroon insist on standard? Can the government of Cameroon tell him? Can the government of Cameroon come in to control? All right. control it to say that, no, we don't want this wagon, withdraw them from circulation, bring to us, the standards that we have in other countries? Can the government come in there?
It is very, very possible to do that. The government can come in and control. It is possible to do it, but the problem here is that they have not been doing. I just quoted a neo. This man, even though we are not talking about
no, those are still part of the abuses.
I'm quoting that one as an example. This inside the month of April that passed,
yes.
A neo has entered into the fee. Cameroonians are crying in Douala. You will go and see a small carabout with an old mother inside that. If you want to sell that house, you will not even sell it up to a million with nothing inside. They will come and give a penalty of 100,000, 80,000. A house that has never consumed even up to 5,000 per month. So they have become incompetent in the way that if they cannot recover their money, they just throw it. You that fall into the net, you are punished.
Do you have a possibility of complaining?
And we have a government that was supposed to defend us, and they are not doing their job. It's the same thing with this one. The government can intervene if only they will be able to cease themselves from that external influence that are coming from maybe
from our colonial masters.
Our colonial master,
yes.
Because normally, Venancio, there's something I would like us to understand. These feelings we are having concerning this trend, you think that even those our authorities who are working in the ministries in Yaoundé, do you think that they don't have the feelings? They themselves are having the feelings like us. Do you think that even the minister that came and inaugurated this thing, if he has to travel Douala Yaoundé, he will come to that. He will not come to the train. They are having that very feeling as we are having the feeling. But it's like something is wrong. We are saying that we should look for the solution of that thing. I said here last time that treating an illness and treating the cause of the illness are two different things. When you treat the cause of the illness, then that illness is gone.
You are sure that you are done with it.
Let us try to get ourselves rid from foreign influence.
Yes.
How can a Cameroon that we call African in miniature? Look, you are talking even about the train. What about roads? Douala Yaoundé. If you have traveled Douala Bafoussam, not Trocham, if you go through Bafang, yes, Batie like that to Bafoussam, the road is, in short, it's not the people who have been plying that road. They know what I'm saying. The tar has expired at certain places that you don't even understand that this one is tar. All this one it means that our problems are
many.
There are many. These train services is just part of our problem. We have so many problems that we are supposed to solve. But let us begin in the way that would bring a solution, a final solution to all the problems.
Okay.
Not yes.
Mr. Fundo, if you have the opportunity, like you now have it to talk, perhaps to the management of CAMEROUN, who should be listening to us, what would you suggest to them concerning these wagons that we have?
I would tell the management of CAMEROUN that it is not a mistake that we accepted you to do business in Cameroon, because this is business. The interest you are making from this business is going to you, to your country. We accepted you. You should also try to respect us, the country that permitted you to carry this business here, by giving us comfortable services. Compare it to other countries and see that
perhaps his home country.
Yeah, your home country.
Yes, is that what exists in his country?
If you compare it to that country, you have to understand that you are tarnishing the image of Cameroon. I had a friend who is a white. He told me that he's working in forestry sector. He told me that he had to he looked for he negotiated to be transferred to Cameroon, because when he, you know that there's something, football made Cameroon to be popular. Yes, football has made Cameroon popular in the world. But this man said that he negotiated very well to be sent to Cameroon. He know that when Cameroon is a small paradise on earth. But he was saying this thing because he was already having the feeling that what he expected to come and see in Cameroon, he did not see it. So our problems, it means that even people have been strangers who have been accepted to do business here are contributing to put us down. You cannot come, you are exploiting our country, and then you make us as if we are not citizens like those of your country. That's the information I would like to send to the management of CAMEROON.
Okay, then before we go out of the studio, now let us try to find out from Cameroonians themselves, you know, like you are one. When you compare, because we are saying that it is cheaper transporting, you know, through the rail than transporting through air or by road. And we are asking, is it that Cameroonians cannot also venture? You mean to take over? I don't mean Cameroon government. I mean Cameroonian enterprise, businessmen and women, the business class. Are there no Cameroonians who can also venture into this sector and try to manage it themselves? Because I believe if it is a Cameroonian managing it, he would first think of that pride too of the country. Correctly.
That's a very good question.
Yes.
Your question is a lesson to our to our government. It should be. I would prefer to talk, as you said. I would talk to our authorities.
Of course,
we should begin to think of taking those companies that were being managed by foreigners.
Yes.
If their contract get to the end, we have businessmen in Cameroon. We have businessmen in Cameroon that are compared at the African level, not at Cameroonian level, who can take CAMEROON and manage it very well. And then let me quote an example just like what you have said. You notice that when there is this money transfer agent that was in Cameroon, that was the only one.
Yes.
When this agency was existing, Cameroonians were not very comfortable with it.
I remember once there was any problem, even the spelling of the name, you would suffer to have the money.
Suffer with the money.
Yes.
But immediately the
mobile telephone got into it.
Yes. You see now that if you go there now, their services
they are
is the best.
Begging for you. Yes.
Yeah, their services is the best.
Yes.
But there's something wrong, Venatius. I quoted that one as an example, but there's something wrong at that level, because if there was competition in that field, only within Cameroonians, we are already enjoying the services.
Yes.
But that competition has come in, but there was something wrong at the national level. You know that these mobile companies that came into that business, all of them are foreign.
Of course, they are foreign. Yes.
Would mean that the interest that they make from it goes out. And then you instead notice that this company we are talking about is existing in Gabon and even in Burkina Faso is existing there. The interest they are making from there is coming back to Cameroon. Why the interest these mobile
foreigners are making
is going out of Cameroon. So they could have brought in competition with other Cameroonians and not giving it to a stranger. These people could have concentrated on their communication, and they allowed the money transfer agency. So that's why that one is in line with the question you said, that Cameroonians could take, a Cameroonian should take CAMEROON and manage it.
And they'll be able to manage it.
They'll be able to manage it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fondo. For time constraint, we cannot continue. It was our pleasure having you.
Thank you very much. I'm also glad to be here once more.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being there this evening. We'll be coming up next with another interesting topic tomorrow. Coming up next is the news in the English language with our staff lady, Cynthia Guemo. Until we meet again, have a blessed evening and goodbye. Coronavirus is not an imagination or an invention. It is a real threat that spares no one. We are already counting so many casualties the world over. The situation is serious, and we individually have the choice to scrupulously